Welcome to You've Never Seen It. This is my journey to never hear these four words again. I am your host, Allison Salamone, and joining me today are two very, very cool, awesome people. I can't believe they agreed to come and hang out with me. This is wild to me. But they host and are founders of their own channel here on YouTube, Late to the Party. It's Vanessa Fitzsimmons and Robert Montano. What's going on, guys?
Allison, you've never
I
seen
completely
it.
I completely forgot to say what movie we're talking about. We're talking about Back to School. So there we go. It's in the description. It'll be fine. But thank you guys so much for wanting to come and hang out with me. I'm super excited about this.
Of course, nobody really ever wants to talk about back to school,
Yeah.
and it's usually just us talking about back to school every time we
I
watch it.
I love that. That's amazing. So before we get into why you wanted to do Back to School with me on this show, I want to hear from your history, your guys' history. So like for both of you, like where your love for movies came from, and how you started really kind of late to the party.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. I just watched, like, when you're kids, you watch the cartoons and movies and all that stuff, like the animated stuff. But I think when I got to Titanic's like my ultimate favorite movie ever.
I
That is
love
when,
that.
yeah, that is when I was like, I really, really enjoy movies. Like, I like the storytelling and the music and the scores that they bring together to tell a story, because before Titanic came out, I was like really interested in just the tragedy of like the sinking ship beforehand.
Mhm.
So I was really interested to see how something that we kind of already know the ending to, like what kind of story was he going to tell for that movie. And the fact that he was able to like capture me in I watched when the movie came out in VHS, I watched that movie every single day for like a
I love
year
that.
after school. I did my homework first, but
Of course.
then I watched the movie, and after that I was just like, man, movies just like take you to like a whole nother level. And that's kind of like where my love for movies kind of where they like began there.
That's amazing because for the longest time, Titanic was the movie that I saw the most in theaters because I was 12 years old at the time, I think. So I was like prime age for Leonardo DiCaprio awakening until Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl came out. And then that became the one that I saw the most in theaters at 6 times because I was
Nice.
17, 18 when that one came out. So again, perfect age for another Johnny Depp awakening.
Yes.
How about you, Robert?
So with me, I mean, I grew up in the VHS age, VHS and beta, actually, when you got to pick between the two, when you would go rent it at a store, a video store, not even a
Sure.
Blockbuster. It was like just a mom and pop video store, Video Stop, it was called.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was amazing going and getting to pick out movies. Luckily, I grew up in a family that is what we did. It was movies, it was quoting, it was references. My mom's side of the family specifically, and then my cousins on my dad's side of the family, just those two cousins. Everybody else not really in it, but just those two cousins, man. It came down to that was our life. That's what we lived in. It was video games eventually, and then it was movies. So getting to watch, all the 80s goodness that did end up coming out. Now, granted, there's a lot we still, both of us, have yet to touch on.
Yeah.
Hence, late to the
Surprisingly,
party.
some of
Yeah, we
them
got
that
a
are very
list.
popular.
We
too.
got a list that's growing. But when it comes to the meat, the Back to the Futures, the almost said Jurassic Park, the Ghostbusters, all the great 80s,
Indiana Jones.
goodness. That
Yeah.
wasn't horror. I didn't watch the horror. That was a different cousin. And then there was like the action, which I wasn't allowed to watch, but it was a lot of this going on with the
Right.
violence. But where I hung my hat and I got away with watching a lot was the comedies, and that was Back to School for sure.
That's awesome. I love that. So then with kind of all that being said, what brought you two together and when, how, why late to the party and where did the whole concept really form?
Well, with us, I mean, it comes down to work. It comes down to just working together. When you work together, you get to really rub elbows with other people's personalities. And that's where we ended up rubbing elbows, with our personalities. That and Tim Franco and like this whole little group that
Mhm.
ended up forming up at this one Best Buy. And yeah, when you start realizing that you're having those conversations consistently, it's only a matter of time before you figure let's take it to
Why
air.
not turn on a camera and
Right.
talk about
I
it to
think our
everyone?
conversations are great, so why not show them to the rest of the world? That's
Sure.
fantastic. I love
Sure.
that.
It's just when you're so passionate about something and
Mhm.
you chit chat every day about it to where you're having these mind-blowing conversations in your own heads. Like it's
Yeah.
probably only mind-blowing to you, but
Yeah.
we figured there's probably other people out there that feel the way we do about this certain topic and the things that happen, to where if you convey it, there's going to be somebody out there who loves back to school that will eventually
Yeah.
find this video, and they're going to feel what you feel when it comes to certain things that you love. And
Mhm.
that's why we just took it to air. We had the means to do it.
Yeah, like every time we would go to the theater and we would watch a movie in the theaters too, we would stay like like at the mall, like in front of the theater, just talking about the movie itself, like way before, like way after we've watched the movie,
Mhm.
Still do.
about all kinds of things that pertain to that movie, and then we go off on tangents with actors in those movies to other movies, and then you start quoting things,
We're
and it's just
standing in the parking lot for many
yeah.
hours after the
Yeah.
movie is over. Security comes by and like, you guys got to go,
Like,
which
it's
happened a
we're
lot.
closing. Your
Yeah.
movie ended 3 hours ago.
What
Yeah.
are
Like,
you
you
guys
got you
doing
got
here? Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
happens a
You don't
lot.
gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Sure. And that's, yeah, essentially it was, we took that, circle of parking lot talk about movies and
Literally, because then we had an apartment right behind the mall where
yeah,
the movie theater was.
yeah.
So
You can look out our window and see the parking lot in which we were standing.
Perfect.
So we
yeah.
just moved it over in front of a
I love
camera.
that. I love that. You guys had an apartment by the movie theater. We liked a brewery, so we moved to the other side of town to be closer to it. It's great.
Yeah. And even right now, we live literally less
We still
than
live close to
like
the theater.
I
with
Not as
love that.
close as it
with
was, but we
with
still are there.
with a green light, maybe two minutes.
Yeah.
Green
I love
light,
it.
two
That's
minutes will be
amazing.
there.
That's so incredible. So yeah, and it's I love how you're talking about, like, we love talking about this, or we love these conversations and we think other people will enjoy it. That's literally how You've Never Seen It kind of came to play with Flick and Reel. Is I was homesick either with COVID or something, and I decided I was going to post on Twitter that I was watching my first ever Alfred Hitchcock movie, and it was Rear Window. And all of a sudden this
We've never seen it.
oh,
Yeah.
so you guys want another show? You want but but yeah, it was the first Hitchcock movie I've ever watched. So I took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter, and it was one of those tweets where, like, at the time I had like maybe 300 followers, and blew up to, it was getting like 100,000 views or whatever with it. And like, I learned how to turn off notification, or like mute notifications 2 days later, because like I didn't know how to do it yet.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was insane how people were just like, what a great movie to choose, that's the best Hitchcock you could have gone with, and like how excited people were to share something that they loved with someone, whether they knew them or not, for the first time. And that's kind of what the show's been so fun, because I've enjoyed going and watching all of these movies that other people think I should have seen, or I know I should have seen, much like Back to School. So, segue back to the conversation. Why'd you guys want to talk with me about this movie?
This movie is just such a fun, like, I was a fun movie to watch. And when it comes to like Rodney Dangerfield and a lot of his movies, like they're a lot of fun, but I don't know, we just kind of always veer back to school because of like the story that they try to tell and the music. Like the music is really
Oh,
good. Danny Elfman does like such
I
a
love
good
Danny Elfman.
job doing the music in that movie. So it's definitely one that I would like, if I'm doing stuff, I'll just put it on
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the background.
Honestly, it comes down to Rodney. I think the reason why we pick Back to School, and just one of the reasons why it's like one of my favorite comedies, especially from the 80s, Rodney Dangerfield. And Rodney Dangerfield has a certain style of delivery when it comes to his jokes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
all of them are the he's got
Yeah.
a very specific way of just calling things out. And for some reason, I mean, he does it in every movie he's in, okay? But you've got Caddyshack, but it's more of an ensemble piece, and he's in it, and he
Mhm.
kills it, and he kills it. But he's more of like the rich a-hole in that one who
Mhm.
does whatever, but yet he's still having a good time. And he tones that down a bit and makes it more about like a loving father with a son. And for
Uh-huh.
some reason, you add Jason in there with Rodney Dangerfield. Like you kind of get it a little bit in like Ladybugs, but that one has a whole shtick to it. But for some reason, I think Back to School is like the best way to consume the style of Rodney Dangerfield, but with the heart. And then Danny Elfman, Harold Ramis writing, like it is just like a perfect concoction of like greatness in the mid '80s that is
Yeah.
definitely one a lot of people should see.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You have great Billy Zabka as like the perfect jock
Yes.
80s villain. He's just taking his character from the Karate Kid to the dive team now. And his hair is perfect. And
Perfect.
these these stunt doubles for the diving is
Right.
totally absurd. Because I've seen like I knew bits and pieces about Back to School. Like I knew about the triple Lindy, and I recently had learned that my husband loves to listen to he would listen to the Oingo Boingo song Dead Man's Party, like back when we first started dating, and he would always go, "What movie is this from?" I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "I already told you it's Back to School." And I'm like, "Okay, sorry." Still married me eventually, so it's fine.
Of course.
But but yeah, so like I always knew that like that was, and then from there I learned that Danny Elfman was the lead singer of Oingo Boingo. So that was really fun to like watch that the whole party scene when
Mhm.
they're there. Just it's fantastic. And that's such a good song. I think that's like of because a big thing too in like these 80s movies were these bands that just showed up and cameoed, and I'm pretty sure Oingo Boingo in Back to School is probably like top 3 band cameos of
Iconic.
like 80s movies. Oh
Yep.
my god, it is.
And
It's great.
it felt like they gave him a music video almost, because the
Yeah.
music is constant. The music is
Yeah.
constant. And if you even listen, there's certain scenes when they throw it outside, and you're outside with
Mhm.
like Philip, and the cops show up with the alcohol.
With the beer.
Yeah, and it's great just to show the pull that Melon has. But the music is continuous. It's never
Mhm.
chopped. It's never just that the band is there playing. Like their song is constantly playing, and as soon as it goes from inside to outside, it's consistent with where we are in the song from when we went outside.
Right.
So it's like you got a music video for Oingo Boingo with the set dressings of all the story that's going on in the movie. So
It's
it
so
was well
great.
done.
It's a good bop. It's a good
It's
it is a good song. It's very catchy, like just to listen
All
to
dressed up with
the
with
song.
nowhere to go.
It's great.
Walking with the dead man over
Over
my
my shoulder.
shoulder. Yeah, this is what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna sing the whole song now, turn into karaoke.
And the fact when you eventually realize too that like the man who's right there singing you, and he's doing like the eyes,
Yeah.
and he's got the microphone,
Yeah.
The very
uh
Danny
the very
Elfman-esque
Danny Elfman-esque,
Yes.
presence.
maneuver
And then
or
you're like,
What
mannerism.
I
he did
what
the
I like to
music.
call a Zaddy Elfman, because after he showed up at Coachella,
Oh
all ripped,
yeah.
right?
Oh, dude, he is in a next level right now. He's in a
Yeah.
Yeah.
whole new level of presence right
Yeah.
now. But then you
Yes.
find out that man, that one that's front and center in the band, he did the music for the
Do,
whole
do, 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 do.
The
movie.
whole
And
movie.
it's got a good theme too, like at the beginning
So
when it
good.
goes into like that intro, it's like the do 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 do
This
do
is
do
like
do
Yeah.
do do do, and it's like,
Pee-wee's
dang,
Big
okay.
Adventure time
Yeah.
frame Danny
Yeah.
Elfman. So you are getting top-notch Elfman, and it shows that he can do anything in terms of scoring.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the weird Tim Burton. It could be your traditional
No.
comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that bop. You put it
Mhm.
perfectly.
It's
Bop. It's a great song.
fire.
I always like I love how they're in that movie and they have that bop in that movie. And Robert Downey Jr. is also in the movie.
Yes.
I love his character in this movie because it's like,
Derek Lutz.
yeah.
Derek Lutz. It's so great. It's so different from literally every character I've ever
Mhm.
seen him play. Because the Robert Downey Jr. I know is the Tony Stark. I
Sure.
did an earlier episode back when I was all audio only on Zodiac, you get Robert Downey Jr. and that, like, that's during like the beginning of like his big comeback.
Of
Like
course.
those are the RDJ roles that I know. So seeing him in this and the look that he have, I literally sent a text to one of the group chats I'm in. I was like, watching Back to School, have a record coming up, loving RDJ's look.
And he's got like this anti-capitalistic like
Yeah,
type
I know.
character, take down the bourgeois mentality
And then of course 20 years later he ends up being
Tony
major capitalist Tony
Yeah.
Stark over there. But it's just
such a full circle moment.
yeah, and then just like the roles that he took during that time though too, but like the correlation, how if you have Oingo Boingo, Danny Elfman in this movie, he's in this movie. He's also in Weird Science as well, which Oingo Boingo did the Weird Science theme song. So it's just like awesome that he's been correlated with Danny Elfman.
Yeah, he's with Danny Elfman in a couple movies.
I love that.
Well, Avengers too as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
he's been with Danny for a little while.
Yeah. Oh man. Do you have like your preferred, like if you could list your top 3 Danny Elfman scores, what would they be?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure for me is absolutely one of them. Batman is another.
Batman.
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
I love the Beetlejuice music. The first what to go with Spider-Man 2. Or just like the Spider-Man in general.
Oh, that's right. He did the Spider-Man. He did the sea. I called them the Seabiscuit Spider-Mans for a while because a friend of mine mentioned
Tobey Maguire. But so those two, and then the Batman one is good.
I'll say Back to School if I get to include Dead Man's Party.
Yeah,
School is good too.
Absolutely. What a needle drop, and that whole scene itself is just absolutely perfect because you're getting the climax of Rodney Dangerfield's son is now really annoyed. He just lost the dive meet, which, by the way, side note, 80s movies that have sports themed with them are some of the greatest. Like in Back to School, you have diving. In Better Off Dead, it's the ski team. Like it's just wild. Like the most, I feel like it's the most like obscure sports that I've never like you never see anything about. It's not football. It's not like there's like
Teen
on
Wolf,
the dive.
Teen Wolf basketball.
That's true. And even in Ladybugs, that's girls soccer.
Right.
Yeah, and it works. Which I see what Rodney did there. Then he got typecast.
Yeah.
Chester.
Ladybugs is good.
I love Ladybugs.
I actually haven't seen Ladybugs, so I guess
seen it.
You've never seen it. We'll bring you guys back for that one. No, before Back to School, the only Rodney Dangerfield movies that I have seen were Caddyshack and Rover Dangerfield, the animated one.
Yeah, animated consumption of Rodney Dangerfield. That's fine.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I mean, at least I think it is. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I need to go back as well. Yeah. Rodney Dangerfield, just as in our age, getting later in the years, wasn't doing a whole lot. His movies weren't as popular, so you really have to dip back into the 80s to find the good stuff when it comes to what Rodney was supplying.
Yeah, and eventually we'll get to Caddyshack because I've never seen Caddyshack.
Yeah, we'll watch that one. I've seen it many times.
Caddyshack is great. Great Chevy Chase. Great Bill Murray.
I'm pretty sure on our VHS tape it went Caddyshack and Back to School, like they were back to back.
Yeah,
so
actually,
one would
I
end.
love that. Have it back there somewhere.
And then it went Mannequin.
Oh man,
McCarthy, Kim Cattrall. Check it out.
I feel like that's a choice.
I love Mannequin. It's great. Yeah. I forgot what I was talking about.
I also forgot where I was going with all. No, so like that whole scene, but it just shows like how the shenanigans that Rodney Dangerfield is pulling, like when he so like his son is all bitter and angry and grumpy, and Derek's trying to get him to be happy, and Rodney tries to come and he storms out, and he finally he kind of grows some balls. He punches a guy in the face. It's great. But then you have Rodney Dangerfield in the hot tub where he's like calling the different girls over, and he's like, "What's a hot tub without bubbles?" And like the one chick comes over.
What's your favorite subject? Poetry. I'm not even going to say the next part.
Or then like he's underwater and he comes up and he's like, "I love marine biology."
Which is funny because, like, I forgot what the professor's name, but she gets all mad at him. But it's
Yeah.
like, you were just on a date with Philip. Like, again, you're
That's
like
right.
dating between
That's
two
true.
guys at the same time. Granted, he's got 4 college girls, so
Yeah,
I
right.
completely get the inappropriateness of what he's doing. But they were having a good time. Seemed like everybody who was there wanted to be there. The whole world is here. It's the
Yeah.
best day of my entire life. They wanted to be there. Everyone's having a good time at his party.
Exactly. Everyone's having a great time at that
Uh-huh.
party. Um, who else is in this movie? Oh, we're big John Carpenter fans.
Mm,
So as soon as I got to see Adrienne Barbeau, John Carpenter's ex-wife,
sure.
right there in the front, I elbowed I was like, it's Adrienne Barbeau. And he's like, yes, Allison, I've seen this movie. I've told you, like, I know
Vanessa.
who's in
Vanessa. Yeah. In the rump, what
uh,
is it with the photos? Is it Giorgio? You and
in the
Giorgio in
rumpus
the
room.
rumpus room. You and Giorgio in the cabinet.
When she said I do, I should have asked with who?
With who? Vanessa. Yeah. She does so she's so infuriating just in the short part that she's there, to where
Yeah.
I love how he is so quick to just turn the tables on her. He was
But
ready. He had the
he
divorce
had
Yeah, he
the
had the
papers,
thing. He was
Polaroid.
ready
the
for it.
Polaroids.
The
He had it all.
Polaroid.
He was
The
just
sandwich
waiting.
that he makes during when he
I
catches up and he
learned this
goes and he
from
makes
someone
that sandwich
from
and he
Europe.
scoops.
He's like, hold this.
I tell Vanessa, like, even today, I was like, do you remember the sandwich? She's like, which sandwich? I was like, the sandwich that he makes. I'm like, you got meatballs, you got chicken, and you got deviled eggs all in one. I learned this in Europe. Cut it in half.
Can you hold it right here?
Yeah.
I,
And everyone is so amazed. They're all gathering around.
yeah,
It's
no,
like, you've never seen a sandwich before?
hot stuff, coming through.
Or when he when she comes around, someone offers him a drink. He's like, "No, thanks, I got my own." As he puts the beer on the table, he's just being awful to everybody. Oh, it's so great. He's so good, and really, I've listened to his stand up on because it's up on Spotify or Apple Music, things like that.
Mhm.
He's funny, and he had a late start in life with all of it too. Like he didn't come into everything until his age with Caddyshack and things. But his stand up, for as raunchy as it is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
It is just I'm going through quotes right now at this movie, and it's just this movie's just perfect. Everything's just done so
You're
well.
perfect.
The whole commercial where he's talking about, are you pleasantly plump? A little on the hefty side? Well, let's face it. Are you fat?
I gotta get bigger actors. We have miles and miles of fabric.
Yeah.
The tall and you should try my tall and fat
No
stores.
offense.
No offense.
No offense. No offense.
They
Yes.
just
To
had
the
pockets that look like pool tables. Yeah.
But that's his comedy, and that's why
Yeah.
it's so perfect. It's so perfect. There's a lot of people in this movie too. There's a lot of big names. You get Burt Young. As soon as he came up on my screen, I looked at my husband, I'm like, cut me, Mick. Because that's where he's obviously RDJ.
Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty, Sam Kinison, Kurt Vonnegut just shows up to write.
F me, F you, and that's the thing. They get 2 F-bombs in that PG-13 because I don't think they were limiting them. But when he tells Kurt Vonnegut to F off, gets 2 of them.
Yeah, I love it.
Stop and payment on the check.
This movie was rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I had no idea.
You get boobs and cool. F-bombs.
You get boobs and F. It's very true.
PG-13 was a different.
It was different back
then.
Yeah,
it was very. Yeah, it was very true. I mean, also, doing this show, I learned that Sleepless in Seattle was also a PG-13 movie, and I was like, I feel like that wouldn't have been PG-13 with some of the things that were said in this day and age.
We've never seen it. That's someone.
Yeah,
it's on the
list. It's on the list. I love it. Let's just we'll just go back and forth. We'll share channels and go.
There you go. We got so many
suggestions. So apparently, according to, because Wikipedia is always right and I never question it. Wink, wink. But apparently, Back to School was the 6th highest grossing film of 1986 and the 2nd highest grossing comedy of the year, right behind Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. Nice. That's worthy. It's worthy. Crocodile Dundee is amazing.
Is it? With Paul Hogan?
Oh, yeah.
The first thing I ever saw Paul Hogan in was Flipper. with Elijah Wood.
Oh yeah, that was towards the end of his run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was that
great.
in Subaru commercials.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is fine. You know, he drives a Subaru in the third Crocodile Dundee. Like
Does
they
he?
kept it in touch with the character.
There you
Yeah.
go.
He drives a
He
Subaru,
drives an Outback.
An Outback. Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
did you know? I never knew this. Back to School came out the same, I want to say, weekend as Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and
Yeah.
then there's the Twist and Shout
Yeah,
song.
they do the songs for both movies.
When Rodney say Twist and Shout, twist and
yeah.
shout. And it also happens in Ferris Bueller, and they came out the exact same weekend. Ferris Bueller 2 days before. Never
Really?
knew that song was hot back then for movies.
Apparently, very,
Yeah.
very hot.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So you had said that. So I know that Alan Metter directed this, but Harold Ramis was one of the writers on it, right?
Screenplay and an executive
Yeah,
producer.
he was one of the writers.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
And then
That's why
Rodney
it's so
was like
good.
story as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of hands in the pot when it came to comedies back then. Everybody was kind of helping each other out.
Right.
John
Yeah.
Hughes, Columbus, and
Mhm.
Ramis, and everybody
Mhm.
was kind of
Reitman
jumping
and
in. Reitman, of
Mhm.
course. Then you got the
uh,
other ones that we don't really talk about anymore.
no, we don't.
The
We just don't. We
Landises.
just don't talk about
Landis.
them.
The
Yeah.
Landises.
Yeah, the Landises, right. Landis, Ramis, Ramis, or Reitman. Which one did it? It feels
Sure.
like half the time, especially during the 80s,
Of
for
course.
sure.
And comedies, of course.
Did you? So apparently too, because now I'm also on IMDb and I'm learning more trivia. Supposedly in the original script, Rodney Dangerfield's character was supposed to be poor, but it was Harold Ramis who suggested the rewrite to change it to make him rich.
Okay. You have more fun when he's rich.
Yeah.
Right?
'Cause
That's the
you-
whole point.
You get to do stuff that you normally wouldn't get to do because you
Yeah.
don't have money, you're poor.
See, I
Look-
also love the fact that he is rich in the story, but like he doesn't have that mentality of like, I'm all business. Like he
Yeah.
really cares about his son. And he's like, even at the beginning when he's in the board meeting and his son is calling and he's like, all right, everybody out. Like they're like, but we got business to handle. He's like, I got business right here with his son. Like,
Yeah.
he like would rather talk to his son. And I really like that aspect of him because they could do that trope of him not like being estranged to his kid. But they don't do that. So
He
I love
buys
that.
people stuff. He
Yeah.
spreads the wealth. He
Could
gives
you
money.
imagine? I wish I could have been in my school bookstore at like any of my attempts at college
Sure.
and have someone be like, go get new books. It's on me. Like,
Yeah.
Like, hell
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
You want to pay my
Shakespeare.
tuition too?
Yeah.
Can I get an upgraded dorm room? Like the way that he like just takes down 3 walls and now all of a sudden you have like a 6-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
I love things that just absolutely make no sense. Because even if you took all those walls down, it's still not going to be that big. Like it's
Yeah.
still.
I didn't even realize it till actually my most recent viewing that he takes out more and he makes it the offices for the workers that come. So like when they walk
That's-
out, they go down into more dorms and it's the offices where all the administrators are working on all his homework. So
That's
it's like
incredible.
over the whole building, basically.
Oh, that's amazing. And I also, going back into even like that first boardroom scene, again, everything is just gold. Where like they're coming up with different business ideas, and the guy picks up the melon patch doll. He's like, "It's a melon patch, see?" And the thing about Cabbage Patch is that they're orphans or that they're whatever.
Yeah.
With here, they're abandoned
Abandoned,
because
yeah.
they're.
It's terrible.
I'm
But keep
like,
the unit
oh my
cost under
God.
$5.
Keep
We
the
took a
unit
bath
cost
on those
under
chubby tub toys.
those stubby tub toys. And then it's so, oh my God, when he's sitting in that economics class and he's just schooling Philip
Oh yeah.
on
Yeah.
everything. And he's like, you got the waste management guys. Ooh, you want to know what they do for
And everybody's like taking
the girl
notes,
turned around to
listening
take notes. It's like
I mean,
this
it makes
movie.
sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
real
businessman.
business. He's real
oh
business.
man.
Because while he was in there working on ethics, he was out there, making moves. The only reason you have places to teach is the only reason guys like you have places to teach is because guys like me donate buildings. So
Yeah.
he schooled Philip on business.
Oh, it was great. Also, I love that Ned Beatty's character is Dean Martin. And at one point
Oh,
when
damn, I didn't even pick that up. I didn't even pick it up.
Oh
Dean
yeah,
Martin.
that's right. That's
Maybe
funny.
not what
At
they're
one
going
point,
for, but
at one point, even Rodney Dangerfield goes, "I got to go talk to Dean Martin." Like laughs like at the name.
shit.
And it's
Up until this point, I never got it. I never got it. That's amazing.
it's incredible.
That's
And I love how
great.
like every single time that like something is happening, like in that when they're doing his like midterm exams or his final exams or whatever, and they're sitting there, Dean stands up and he's like, and remember, Mr. Mr. Mellon is the reason we have the brand new Mellon School for Business. And he starts clapping and like everyone else is gradually just like,
The
Yeah.
okay.
the 180 turn of Dean Martin when he first tells him like it's he's kind of comes off pompous a little, hand
Yeah.
selected by me across
Oh,
this
that's right.
wonderful
Yep.
country. Like he's very pompous, and then afterwards he's like, it was a really big check. Like
Yeah.
It was
he
a
It's
really
a
just
big
really
check.
big
yeah,
check.
he's like sold. Like he bought Dean Martin for the school.
This semester though is like the fastest school semester
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
history of school
it
semesters.
is.
If you and I feel like what's his face wears the exact same button-up shirt the entire time
Who?
in it. His son.
Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the same blue flannel button-up shirt
that's
the
true.
whole
This was
Yeah.
time.
actually all done in one day.
You know
One of
what?
those 24-hour movies.
It always made me want to go to college, but because like it was so short. But then once I started realizing how long they were, and you're there for years, I was like,
Yeah.
oh well, I only want to go for like a semester.
You only want to go to the movies. You're in 2 hours. And you're
Yeah,
good.
Right.
why? I'll see the movie. I'm in and out in 2 hours. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
short it. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
it all takes. And then I always wonder, like, is he graduating? It's like, no, he's just a speaker at the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
made me
Yeah.
wonder, like, how do you get through it so quick? You still,
Yeah.
where's the sequels? We have a lot more school to get
I
through.
want
know.
so
It's
much more
true.
school.
No, yeah.
The other thing that I knew Jason Mellon from, again, big John Carpenter fans, he's in Christine, where
Christine.
he plays the guy who he starts getting obsessed and possessed
Oh, yeah.
by the car. And he plays it very, 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 he plays brooding very, very well. So it was a nice little
That's
thing
good
to see him.
know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've never seen
Yeah,
Christine.
she hasn't seen
So.
Christine.
Christine's great. Again, the only reason I've seen it is because my husband loves Carpenter, which then turned me into loving Carpenter.
Of course.
So it's real easy to like convince me to do things. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's I'd be on the diving board like, are you want to do the triple Lindy? No. Well, everyone's doing it. Okay, I'll try it. It's literally all you have to tell me.
I would attempt it if they're playing the Danny Elfman music in the background. No, like the like the magical music when he's like bouncing in slow motion. But in reality, it'd be me just going, hit the water.
Yeah.
I'd make that sound Joe Dirt makes when he hits something.
Oh, yeah. And he hits the back like of the bridge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that the college is Great Lakes University, so it's
Yeah.
like you think it's supposed to be somewhere like in the Mid East or
Yeah.
like the Midwest, like up north.
Uh-huh.
Which I like when do you have outdoor diving weather in
That's
the
true.
Midwest?
Yeah,
That's
that's
why I
true.
love these movies. They make no sense for things, but it's great. It's
magic.
movie magic. I also want to give special shout out to Sam Kinnison's Professor Turgeson
Mhm.
with the history and how he just starts going into his Nam flashbacks and just like and apparently again, because if it's on Wikipedia, it's true. Supposedly they had Jim Carrey slated for that role, but he was too young. So it ended up he looked too young.
Mhm.
So it ended up going to Sam
I get
Kinison.
it. Yeah.
It's
But-
very possible.
It fits so well that it's Kinnison too. And just like how Rodney Dangerfield is more digestible, I think, in this movie, Sam
Mhm.
Kinison, for anybody who never watched his stand-up comedy, because his stand-up comedy could get really intense. Like this is a great way to get introduced to Sam Kinison and say, like, this is what his comedy is like. Because you go into the world of his stand-up and you're like, oh, it's that times 100, but
Right.
that's him in a nutshell. They utilize what made him great. They do the same thing like with Bobcat Goldthwait in other movies and stuff. They took
Oh
his
yeah.
stand-up persona and they put it into movies, and for a lot of us it worked very well in the movies
Love
that he did that
Bobcat.
in. But yeah, like with
R.I.P.
Sam Kinison, like it's his role in this, going up against Thornton Mellon, and when Mellon is just throws it right back at him. I like your answer.
Because we should have killed those commie bastards. Like,
Listen to that damn Beatles album. And yeah, the
He's like,
retort.
I don't know what's happening. Like, he's like, I don't know what that was. Oh, it's so
But he
great.
lays it out, man, as somebody who was in Vietnam, who saw it the real way. To him, he was down there in the boots, his boots on the ground. So he just lost it.
He
He
gets
just
the
lost
people.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thornton.
it's incredible. You start watching him like making the one girl cry, and like
Yeah.
she's just like, oh my god.
But I love when he comes back for the little bit at the end when they're like doing the test. He's like, easy, easy. He's been through a lot. Sam!
Yeah.
Sam! He just starts yelling at Sam.
Yeah.
One last taste of Sam Kinison, rest in peace.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Rodney
R.I.P. I
Dangerfield, rest in
know.
peace. So many.
Yeah, Burt Young.
Yeah.
Who
Ned.
else? Ned Beatty.
Yeah.
Ned Beatty.
Recently too, just a year or two ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
We also get a lovely cameo from Edie McClurg, the the secretary in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Also, another favorite role I have for her is the rental car stand in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where she just like she's sitting there smiling at Steve Martin as he goes off with every other word being an F-bomb. Do you have your key? And he goes, I threw it. She goes, or your receipt or whatever. And he's like, I threw it away. And she goes, well, you're fucked.
And the fact that she's Marge Sweetwater in this movie, but again, Ferris Bueller came out the same weekend as this, and she's Grace in Ferris Bueller, so it's so great that even she is in both movies on the same weekend.
It's so crazy how that happened. Like, incredible.
She was hot back then. Everybody wanted her. She had that perfect presence.
So hot right now, or so hot back then.
It's like that perfect like idea of like she's it's a straight character, but she's so just like
taking notes for Mr. Mellon.
Yeah,
so sweet. Notes. Yeah.
Oh, I love her. I still can't get over Billy Zabka though. I need more Billy. Do you guys watch Cobra Kai? I assume you watch Cobra Kai.
Check out our reactions to Cobra Kai available on our channel now.
Hey!
But it's funny.
Love a plug.
We never noticed it until the last viewing, but like William Zabka and Robert Downey Jr. are on the same title card together on the screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we were like, like together. That's great.
I know. I wish that we got to see more of William Zabka. Anytime that he's on screen, it's always fun.
It felt like Johnny Goes to College.
Yeah, like if Johnny
went really to was.
Yeah.
It was Johnny Goes to College and decided to join the diving team over.
Yeah,
karate was all done.
Chaz Osborne.
Chaz. What a name.
I know.
Like
Prick.
Chaz.
Yeah,
Prick.
you could just tell. Yeah. Pompous a-hole.
I love it so much. God, this movie, I and even now, like, just even think, like, I keep looking at, like, the character list and everything, like, so I see Lou, and I immediately think of the line when they're in the bar, and he's like, girls, this is Lou. Lou, these are girls.
Paulie from Rocky, yeah. See, and that's how I knew Paulie.
Yeah.
Like that, I knew him from Back to School, then eventually I watched Rocky, so I was like, oh, Paulie, okay, it's Lou.
Don't you just love that?
He might lose his trigger finger.
Yeah,
I love that fight, dude.
Might lose his trigger finger.
I love that bar fight. The bar fight's so good. And he picks up the dude and just throws him into the jukebox. Which, if you'll notice, it's a completely different guy that goes into the jukebox, like jacket and everything.
Gotta love that. You gotta love that with the movie. Just like these Rodney Dangerfield stunt time double.
Yeah, the one that gets me is the one when he's at home. And he jumps into the pool, and it's all like, boo, boo, boo.
And if you look really closely, it looks like his hair, like the toupee goes flying forward. It's a quick shot, but it looks like when he does that flip, you see like the hair flapping forward at the same time.
It's incredible. And the way that they film his the triple Lindy at the end, where you're like, looking at his face as he like
Yeah.
turns, and then it's the double, and then he turns, and then it's his face again, and she's like, oh,
See, I always
oh,
thought they did a great job with the stunt doubles because
No,
I was like, if
that
you're gonna
it's
find
great.
somebody to play Rodney Dangerfield jumping from things, I was like,
Yeah.
you've got pretty good.
that's as close as you're gonna.
That's
Let me
as
say
close as you're gonna get. Yes.
the doubles for this movie for Back to School are a lot better than the skiing doubles and Better Off Dead.
Sure.
Whenever you go see that one or watch
Oh,
that one,
yeah, we love
those
that
ski
one.
doubles are
What I
wild.
love about it though too is like because I feel like they knew that, like, you know, with the stunt doubles, like obviously it's not Rodney, and I feel like that was what makes it so great because they like the directors and the producers and all that stuff. I feel like they knew and they pushed for it.
They should have known
because it would just be part of the
It's
story,
true.
you know.
Yeah.
They had to. Have
Oh,
known.
for sure.
Yeah.
That whole final diving scene too, when Robert Downey Jr. Derek lets us in that goes, you know, you never see people heckle divers.
Yeah.
And then he hits the air horn, and all of a sudden, like, please refrain from loud noises while the athletes are diving.
Puts it away. I love it. He helped them win.
That's true.
That messed up 2 dives. That could have made the difference right then
Yes,
and there.
that's
So-
very
Would have made the
true.
difference.
And then M. Emmett Walsh as the coach too. I love him.
Emmett Walsh.
But yeah, not bad. I love how excited he gets. Like you could tell he's in a guy who's been in his job for such a long time that it doesn't really mean anything to him, but he's got a love for diving and passion for diving. So when Thornton Mellon comes up and he finds out about his ability to dive, and he was the one that did the triple Lindy, the most amazing dive I ever saw. Like it sparked it back in him. Mellon, we need you. Like he shows so much more emotion when it comes to
Go get your suit
He's on
on.
the Factor Squad. I don't have the list on me right
I
now.
don't have the list though, but he's on there.
He commits fraud. He commits fraud to win that meet.
He sure
using
does.
Thornton Mellon. He's a student. Why not? He would have made him.
Right.
He would have made him
Exactly.
a
It's all
diver.
good.
Yeah, he's legal.
Sometimes you know, sometimes you just got. That's how Thornton Mellon's got this. You just got to cheat to get through it.
Yeah, cut corners and just payoffs and kickbacks.
Exactly.
Whatever you can do to get in. Walk in like
whatever
you,
you can do to
Right.
get in.
Exactly.
So with this movie, so I always like finding out, you know, with this one, I think it's super quotable. So many great scenes. So with both of those in mind, top 3 in any order your favorite 3 moments within Back to School.
There's so many. Like,
there is a lot.
Yeah.
I think I would clump all of the diving portions in one because they're great.
Yeah.
Just seeing the person like do such a beautiful dive, and then it's like, and then he pops out of the water and it's Rodney Dangerfield. So I do like
Hold
those
the pike a
moments.
little longer.
See, one of mine would, and it's the montages. You get multiple montages in there. So one of them, and it's the most beautiful music on the album for the soundtrack, and it's the training montage when he's like, I'm gonna learn, and the piano is wild from Danny Elfman in that, and everybody's helping him study. You have Jason in the shower with him wearing a raincoat helping him read. He takes the shot, the deconstructed coffee, where he's like takes the grains and takes it and the sugar and licks it, and
he licks
the hot
sugar.
water. Like he's just
his
doing
eyes get really big.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite moments of the
Those
movie
moments are good.
is the success montage. Essentially,
Yeah.
Danny Elfman is great with success montages. One of my favorite songs of his from Wanted, success montage. And another one for me would be when he brings all the people in to start helping him do the work and get the grades done, and he goes to the chimps and he's with the chimpanzees and he gives them a bunch of pizza and they're watching wrestling. They're taking a break. Like
They're taking a break.
Just all the ways that he cuts corners, bringing in Kurt Vonnegut and everything. That sandwich.
That guy, whoever that was, doesn't know shit
about Kurt Vonnegut.
Kurt Vonnegut.
Freaking Vonnegut. And that's, as a child, I knew who Kurt Vonnegut was thanks to Back to School. Would go on to read many of Kurt Vonnegut's books after the fact, but I always knew him first and foremost from Back to School as a child.
I love that.
What other scenes?
I mean, the party is good.
The party.
The party at the school I really like that because it's like a complete 180 for his character having
Yeah.
a party there versus being at the party at the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
So that I do like that because you're like, this is his
Yeah.
like element. Like he likes to party, but this is his element versus like, oh, like the
The
rich
Vanessa
snobby, yeah,
party.
the
Yeah.
Vanessa party. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
oh you meant the beginning, like the first party or the second
No, no, no.
party, the
I'm talking
big
about
party.
the second
Oh,
party
versus the first
versus
party.
the first party
You know what I was doing?
with his reaction.
I was
to it.
thinking about my next favorite scene, and then I heard party, and then I heard Vanessa. I was like, "Wait, were we talking about the first party?" So, I love this movie.
No,
Like,
no, yeah, no.
I'm
I'm talking
starting to
about the
dance
second
around in
party
it.
and how
Sure, the
his
juxtaposition.
interactions in
Oh
that
yeah,
one where he's
free.
lively,
Yeah, he's.
free
I feel like I
versus
just got paroled.
right first
Yeah.
versus the first movie.
Yeah,
first
Yeah.
party. Yeah.
It's
The
yeah,
first party.
it's true. I never even thought of it that way with
Mhm.
the two different parties. The
Well,
stuck
because
up,
like
stuffy one.
yeah, like because you're looking at it as like the second one at the school is a Thornton Mellon party.
Yeah,
Yes.
The first one is a Vanessa party
Yes.
with all of
Yeah.
her friends, and he's very adamant about these
Your
are your
friends.
friends. This is your
These are
thing.
your
Like these
thing,
are your. This is the everyone's coming to kiss your ass to get money. Like
You girls gave me
you know.
chills on this. Like I never even
Yeah.
thought of it that
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Like that adds a whole extra layer to it for me because I
Who
just
knew
never.
back to school would be so
Yeah,
deep?
that's great. That's great. Yeah, other favorite moment is the fight scene. I love the fight scene because it's Derek Lutz. Like it's the whole thing with Derek Lutz getting revenge on the football team. And then when the
Uh-huh.
football team comes in and he's in his face and pulls him in, and he's like, "What do I look like to you?" And he starts deconstructing him
Nathaniel.
like a Neanderthal.
Yeah,
And he's just
Neanderthal.
like 10,000 BC, whatever, cranium.
Yeah, yeah.
Neanderthal man. Like he doesn't give in.
His
He
little
doesn't
Tony
care.
Stark is coming out there because I feel like he's doing the quick
Yeah,
clicks that Tony
very
would
quick.
do.
Yeah, that's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great.
Gets
And
tossed
then
over the bar, back over the bar. Get my
And
ass
then is
kicked
it-
all over the place.
Lou, where you been? I've been getting my ass kicked all over the place.
And the
Oh
music,
yeah.
again, the music, that's the reason why I like it, is because there is a version of the back to school theme it's faster.
Yeah.
Like it's very quick. And then it ends in like this, dun, 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 boom. And then it cuts
Yeah.
to the next scene to the point growing up. When I would watch it, I'd be like, oh, I kind of want to hear more of that song.
Yeah.
Like, I want to
Yeah.
hear it, but it just ends to the next scene when they're at school. But
Yeah.
it's jarring. I feel like
Oh.
that's like 4 of our favorite scenes.
I know,
That's all
great.
good. This movie's
Collectively.
great.
It is.
It's like, yeah, no, I think my other part that I get in that bar scene, just how Rodney Dangerfield acts when he tells the waitress, he goes, bring us a pitcher of beer every 7 minutes till someone
Sure.
passes out, and then bring them every 10.
Every 10 minutes. So, yeah. And that, like, the aesthetic, for some reason, the aesthetic of that bar
Uh-huh.
takes me back to, like, 80s. Like, I just
I love a good
remember
dive bar.
bars in the 80s.
It's a good dive bar, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like we go into like every once in a while we'll go into a place that feels a little older. But I don't know, man. The pizza places and the bars for some reason back in the 80s, usually one and the same,
The
but
wooden
Yeah.
aesthetic.
yeah,
to
wooden
it.
aesthetic, the
Yeah.
red glasses,
It's
the
like-
pictures
it's-
of
it's-
beer.
Yeah, it's almost like the Roadhouse bar from Roadhouse without like the
Stabbings.
chicken wire and the
Stabs
stabbings
and throat rippings.
or throat rippings. Exactly. No, I'm not the best. Wade Garrett's the best. Wade Garrett's getting old. God,
Have you
I
seen
love that
Roadhouse?
movie.
No.
That's on the list.
Oh, Vanessa's just gonna join me and start
You've never
co-hosting this
seen
with
it.
me. We're just gonna go back and forth, Vanessa, you and I. Like, have you seen this? All right, let's talk about this one.
Yeah.
Damn, that would
I know there is quite a few.
that would accelerate our movie reaction. Something fierce. If
I
she'd be
know,
like,
'cause
you gotta watch
yeah,
another
yeah.
movie. I'm like, oh god.
It gets it does, I will say at certain points it does get a little exhausting,
Like
or
that.
like I have like I sent the list to you, Vanessa, you got to see it. Like I have that Google spreadsheet of like things that I would like to cover. So things like, I mean, I would love to get into like more of like Paul Newman stuff, and I want to watch it, especially after watching The Hustler and Color of Money for this podcast, and then going and watching the Ethan Hawke docuseries that he made on HBO Max, the last great movie stars or something like that, about Paul Newman.
Oh, I had no
And
idea.
it's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'd love to watch like the Tower. I do want to go back and watch like the Towering Inferno, Cool Hand Luke, all of these things. Where I'm like, these would make great episodes. So then I'm like trying to find friends that want to talk about it. So I've been working on this little balance of like some things I'm just going to watch for the sake of watching, and we'll get to it eventually.
Sure.
But it definitely, there's a lot. So it's like, and I don't do like a rhyme or reason to it. I'm just like, I think like the most themed out month I did was I watched spooky movies in October. And by spooky movies, it was The Shining, Prometheus, and the Evil Dead trilogy. Like, so, like
Quite a trilogy, though.
It is. Yeah.
It is quite. That was a ride.
Yeah.
That was a ride, much like Back to School was a ride, but it was a very, very fun ride.
Yeah.
And I absolutely, there was not a dull, and it goes by fast. It is a fast movie. Like, you're not going to be bored in it. It's perfectly timed. Comedic timing is amazing. I loved it so much. And all of your favorite parts, or your top, 3, 4, however, whatever moments, right up there. I agree. Like, I love the college party. I love watching the fraternity party be completely trash and no one wanting to be there, as it's supposed to be the biggest party of the year, with the theme of cavemen.
Yeah. Everybody crying. They're just drinking beer, and the guy's just laying there with beer coming out of his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And I love the whole introduction to like the economics class. Like that whole scene is just perfect. And like Jason being like, "Why don't you cool a little bit?" And Rodney Dangerfield's like, "I was just trying to help." Like, well, this is the guy who was the multimillionaire owning chain of the biggest tall and fat stores in the world.
We're short and ugly.
Yeah. or then it goes into, well, he's walking around the class, he's giving everybody out pens, and then he has to take notes, and he goes, "Oh, I gave you my last pen. Hey, I need it back. Here's a calendar."
And it's funny, I didn't think about it till now, but like school is so much a part of this movie. The classes and the teachers, and even just signing up for classes. Like there's so much.
Passing the classes,
living in the dorms. Like there's so much.
C's.
Yeah, there's so much about it that is involved. Like when I watched Revenge of the Nerds, I don't feel like classes and that stuff was really a part of it. It was them being at home, and maybe once in a while we'd be at school. But then, don't get revenge on me, nerd. But then everything took place at either parties, carnivals, home, or whatever. Like this back to school does really give you a taste of college.
Literally went back to school.
He did, yeah. And I love when movies use a theme song for the movie that has the title of the movie in the song itself.
Oh yeah, top one for me is E.G. Daily with "Better Off Dead" when she's singing it at the dance pit. I was better than living without you. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Music now. It's great. I was so excited for that. I listened to that bop on I have this thing where I find a song, I love it, and then it becomes my hyperfixation. I listen to it on repeat many times. Like I have like a 35-minute commute to work, and I will listen to it on repeat that entire commute because it's good.
Been there. They don't make movies like this no more, just in terms of the that cliche
specific theme song, but not like score wise. It's like actual
like an actual jam. Yeah. Oh, it's the best. So I think with all that being said, we feel like now's a good time to kind of go into the Letterboxd and give this my rating out of 5 stars. And I mean, if you don't call this a 5-star film, I don't know who you are. Like, this is the first 5-star of 2023 so far. So that's exciting, right? Really cool. Granted, your competition was 2001: A Space Odyssey and Cliffhanger.
Of course.
So, this was
be like the Cliffhanger could be 5.
I would give Cliffhanger a 5-star, and I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. I heard good things. Boring.
It's a movie.
It's a movie
for sure.
That's what I keep hearing.
It is a movie.
I understand the appreciation for things, and granted, this is not a 2001 podcast, but I understand and appreciate their appreciation. But 100%. There's a reason I haven't seen it yet, because I was watching Back to School as a kid, and Revenge of the Nerds, and Bachelor Party, and all the stuff I probably shouldn't have been watching.
Porky's, it's fine.
Sure, yeah. Caddyshack.
God, what a great movie, Vanessa. I need you to go watch that. The Bill Murray of Caddyshack is phenomenal. Not golfers. Sorry. Anyway, well, before I and we all get out of here. Vanessa, Robert, where can these lovely tens of listeners find you?
And then we had tens of listeners too at one point.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Discord.
Yeah, late to the
Late
party.
to the party.
At late to the party.
Yeah.
Wherever. Late to the party. Just put
Officially
it in the search,
late to the
hit the enter.
party.
Late to the
party.
We should be up at the top somewhere, hopefully.
You'll see our lovely faces.
Every once in a while, someone will make a song or something popular is called Late to the Party, and we get knocked off the algorithm. It's like,
Sure.
trying to get back up there.
Or
But
it
yeah.
helps because then they search for it and they
They
see us,
don't.
and maybe they'll click on it.
They don't.
You're like, that's definitely not a rap video.
Yeah, that's true.
A young Beezy or whoever. And yeah, but yeah, late to the party.
Amazing. Awesome. And thank you guys so much for watching here on YouTube or listening on your audio platform of choice. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review if you're listening on audio. And if you're watching here on Flick and Reel, please be sure to like this video, subscribe, hit that little bell icon to get notifications for every time we have new content drop, and leave a comment about your thoughts on back to school and on any of the other previous episodes. You can follow the show on Twitter at NeverSeenItFNR. You can follow me on Twitter as well at Allison Salamone. And until next time, my friends, be safe. I gotta go watch some more movies. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.